And now here we are. And you know what? I take back what I said last week. Actually, no, I think I said it last week. Rory McIlroy is going to be the underachiever of the year.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
I have an axe to grind, but we're just gonna.
No, here, let's hear it. We're live. You mentioned it. Let's talk about it. Axe to grind.
I have an axe to grind with one of the shirts, with PHI Apparel Co. I do, and it's the one that makes fun of the Mets. So,
dude, look, you know what? The sad reality is that we are two New Yorkers in a Philadelphia-based network. It's pretty.
well,
It's challenging to handle that.
No, I understand that, but I mean, we could be like, honestly, there is not a more elegant dumpster fire than the New York Mets because, to be honest, I don't see any way possible with that rotation with our projected starting rotation that we're gonna have like an 85 win year.
Well,
I feel like we're just like wasting. Like I think we're just like wasting the contracts of the players that we've signed, like Nimmo and Lindor in particular.
you want to laugh?
And Senga, because he has 4 years left.
Keith McPherson was saying the same thing about the Jets. He was like, Aaron Rodgers is throwing up this whole like basically just like riffing off on Pat McAfee show, saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna run it back. This is gonna be the run back year, guys." Like, and some guy tweeted out like, "Oh, like you get a mulligan, but like, how about the fans? Like, you wasted a fucking year of our season." And look, I'm not even a Jets fan, and I feel for Jets fans.
Well,
Wasted a whole year. And when you think about it, wasted a year of youth and contract and legs of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And granted, Elijah Vera Tucker's been hurt, but like the young core of players they have they're wasting them away with the hope that Aaron Rodgers will do something in the next year, 2 years, when in reality, we don't know what's going to happen. I think it's like ridiculous how and like I'm a hypocrite for saying this because I was the first guy saying that the Giants should just tank for the fucking draft picks. But even with the Giants, right? Granted, they don't have the depth of like really top players that the Jets have in terms of young talent, with the exception of John Thibodeau and I guess Deontay Banks at this point. But like, my God, if you're gonna rot away, you might as well get rid of the talent when you actually don't have any intention on getting any better, anyways. Or in the Jets' case, who without Rodgers still were in the playoff hunt for the first 4 weeks of the year. At that point, they never intended on Zach Wilson being the backup quarterback, anyways. They didn't think he was going to play a game. What planning is that? God forbid Aaron Rodgers goes down at 40 years old. You're telling me that your backup plan was just to not even have a quarterback at that point? That to me is ridiculous. And the Mets are doing the same shit.
Well,
like, yeah, it's a bridge year, but you still have to compete.
Well, the thing is, like, with the Jets, it's a little bit different. Like, no one expected Aaron to get hurt, even though he does have a little bit of an injury history. I believe he's had 2 collarbones. Every year it seems like he has a calf issue, which I know, like, the calf is like not correlated to the Achilles, but again, like, it's an injury. And he's obviously not as nimble as he used to be. He doesn't have the arm that he used to have. Like, he doesn't run anymore. Like, even in his later years in Green Bay, like when he won the back-to-back MVPs, he wasn't really running. If guys weren't open, he was just throwing the ball away, which I get it. Like, sometimes the best pass is an incompletion. Like, that's actually a fact. Maybe Zach Wilson can learn a thing or two. But, I mean, I don't understand. I think people think the Jets roster is better than it actually is. And the reason I say that is because I know we have guys that can play. Like, we have Sauce. I do think Sauce is a little bit overrated. He's not a very good tackler, but I get it. He does shut down one side of the field. But, I mean, you could probably run him over if you're a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we have good corners. I know we have good safeties, but the defense as a whole is meant to be played with a lead. The defense is built in order for you to play with a lead.
Yeah.
because we have those 5 pass rushers that we just rotate, one of which was a total wasted draft pick, by the way. The kid out of where was he from? Iowa State, I think.
Who are you referring to?
The Jets' first rounder this year. I think he's I'm trying to think. He was a waste of a pick.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. It isn't Quincy Williams, is it?
No. He wasn't even a draft pick by the Jets. He was drafted by like the Jags or something.
It was Will McDonald. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Will
I
McDonald.
remember that pick, and I was just like, "That is a terrible pick." Like we need offensive line help. Like,
No, he's a good player, but he's misutilized.
well, the thing is, it's like it's like, look, a lot of people had him as like an early second round pick, and we picked him in the middle of the first round. That's what kind of just like I felt like we had more needs than just getting another pass rusher. But the bottom line is the defense is meant to play with a lead. But when you have a quarterback, when you have an offense that's being coordinated by Nathaniel Hackett, who, let's face it,
Joke.
he is the third. If there was a depth chart for offensive coordinators in Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers was there, it was LaFleur, Rodgers, then Hackett. That's how it was. Like Hackett. It's like when Pat McAfee said this about Adam Gase when Adam Gase was Adam Gase was the OC for Peyton Manning, that like 2014 or 15 year where he just went off in Denver. Pat McAfee was like, I mean, Adam Gase is basically assistant offensive coordinator to Peyton Manning. Like, and what do you know? His offense has sucked when he was a head coach.
Yeah.
The offense, I know we have Brees, I know we have Garrett Wilson, but other than that, though, I mean, what else do we have exactly? I mean, we wasted money on Dalvin Cook. Now, at the time, I thought it was fine. I thought it was good that we had another capable back there because no one knew that Brees was going to be like Superman and come back early from a devastating injury.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind that pickup because it made sense. But like, I mean, the running back, I think his name's Michael Carter. He was awful. He was supposed to be our third down back.
Michael Carter isn't a bad running back. He had almost 1,000 yards 2 years ago. And they just the problem is he's a shit pass blocker.
Well, he did not have almost 1,000 yards. He had like 600 and something his rookie year, I think.
Are you sure about this?
Yeah, I'm sure about this. He's not that good.
He was great in his first year.
No, he wasn't.
I'm telling you, he was.
What was yards per carry?
People keep on talking yards per carry. It's the most
Kyron
Williams was averaging 3 yards per carry.
The most important stat, I think, for running back is yards after contact.
He had 1,000 yards in his first 2 years.
In total.
That isn't bad though for a bad O-line.
Total.
And by the way, though, he averaged 4.3 and 3.5 yards per carry.
Oh, whatever. What do I know? I never thought he was that good. He was terrible, and he was our third down back, and he was terrible on third down. And then we have the 5th rounder out of Pitt, who can't block.
Sorry, scratch that. He had 1,000 all-purpose yards his rookie year.
No one cares about that. I don't care about all-purpose yards.
He had 325 receiving yards. He averaged 9 yards a catch.
Yeah,
he was good. He just couldn't block for dick.
Yeah, and he sucked this year. He was terrible. The team is a joke.
He didn't play.
Terrible. I thought getting Rodgers was just a desperate move by a desperate franchise with a meddling owner. I just think people are saying the funny thing is people are saying, well, we should fire Saleh, and I'm like, okay, geniuses, who are we gonna hire? It's other than Ben Johnson, the OC from Detroit, and Harbaugh. Who else is there?
You hire the guy that you trade the house and you get back the guy that you just beat this past week.
No, he hates the Jets, and I would.
I know he does. There's no sadder man on earth right now though than Bill Belichick, who lost to the Jets.
I thought it was a fitting. Has he been fired yet?
He's still under contract, but he's gonna get traded.
He's not getting traded.
They're gonna trade him.
You watch. You watch. Kraft is gonna make him swallow his pride, and they're gonna get a real GM in there. I'm
All
telling
right, just saying that this whole rant would have been great if we had a New York-based show, but unfortunately we
God,
don't. So
so
we need to get into we have to get into the real. We hope you enjoyed Ben's rant on the New York Jets, Philadelphia fans. Don't worry, we'll wind up talking about the Philadelphia Eagles' loss to the Giants on Sunday. Probably not. We aren't. We're a golf show.
the
Welcome
Eagles.
again to the whole podcast. Ben Pirro, Stephen McAvoy here. Another week on the PGA Tour. The first week of the year came out with an absolute freaking bang. This show is brought to you by our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the #1 small batch eyewear in the industry. Founded on Long Island and rep by some of the biggest personalities in sports, including former Patriot wide receiver and current lacrosse player Chris Hogan, Kyle Harrison, John Jay, and of course, our favorite golfer, Paige Sporanic. Tomahawk Shades is guaranteed to keep you looking fresh from the first hole to the 18th green and beyond. Head to TomahawkShades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app on the App Store, Google Play Store, and browse their selection of sunglasses, blue light glasses, and prescription lenses. And use our code USP for 25% off your next order at TomahawkShades.com. Ben, we begin with some breaking news in the world of golf. Tiger Woods is gone from Nike. 27 years, gone forever. No one knows what's happening. All we know from his statement, a thank you to Phil Knight, his vision, a thank you to Nike for their partnership, a thank you to everybody at their headquarters. And all he ends with and says, there will be a next chapter. I'll see you at LA. I assume this means that he's guaranteeing himself to play at Riviera, of course, his event. Or for some reason, if he winds up playing at an event sooner, which I doubt would happen, considering the California Swing begins in 2 weeks. But I'm assuming that means Riviera. What the next chapter is, we don't know. However, before we get into this, I have a little bit of an idea. I've been doing some research, and I've been mulling over the internet. So Nike there's two things. One, shout out to our friend Raymond Williams at Golf Project. He had mentioned this. Nike is clearing $2 billion in available profits. Why is that? His prediction is crazy long shot. Nike buys TaylorMade, who was purchased out of their agreement with Adidas back in 2017. So TaylorMade is their own company. They are opening up their own line of TaylorMade branded clothing. They've been doing it to a degree, but now they're really fully launching off. What if Nike's buying TaylorMade? And this isn't necessarily a departure from Nike, but it's an agreement with TaylorMade more than anything else. Also, just found out that on LinkedIn for the past 2 weeks, there's been a job opening for a director of marketing, particularly linked to a brand new apparel line at TaylorMade Golf in California. So I think all roads lead to him either joining TaylorMade full time or for some reason his personal venture, TGR Ventures, which of course makes golf courses and has the Tiger Woods Foundation. If they wind up opening up their own personal clothing line, kind of like what Tom Brady did with TV12, I think those are the two realistic ways. But I think it's really interesting how TaylorMade is making all these efforts now to open up their doors for a director of marketing. They're opening up new avenues for profit, a new apparel line, stuff like that. Ben, what do you make of Tiger departing from Nike?
Well, I think, well, first, I don't believe that the idea that Nike buying TaylorMade, or I don't believe the idea of Nike buying TaylorMade is really a long shot. There were reports several years ago, and this was after Nike had stopped making golf clubs and they just decided to strictly focus on the apparel side of the game, that they wanted to buy TaylorMade. That was, that's when Rory went to TaylorMade. I believe Tiger went to TaylorMade. So it was that report, was a couple years ago, 3 or 4 maybe. So I don't think that that's necessarily out of the long shot. I don't think that that's necessarily a long shot. But is it possible that Nike maybe just decides to leave the golf business in general? And I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying to like make an outrageous claim, but I don't believe the reason I say this is I don't believe that the golf side of sports makes up that much of Nike's um like revenue. I don't believe it really does. Now, I could definitely see them just continuing to continue to make athletic polos because that just would make sense. You can wear athletic polos doing anything. Um, I just I wouldn't be surprised if I mean Jason Day already left. Now Tiger's gone. I mean Tiger was the main guy, right? And
Yeah,
Jason
he's the millionaire.
and Jason has really resurrected his career, so that was a big name as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Nike was like, you know what, screw the golf thing. We're just gonna focus on what our bigger sports. We're gonna focus on running. We're gonna focus on cross training. We're gonna focus on baseball or football. Um, I could honestly I could see them just sitting there and looking at their golfers and being like, "We'll just buy you out of your contracts." I wouldn't be they have the money to do it, clearly.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility. The other thing I have to say is I always felt that the Nike designs, regardless of if it was shoes or clothing, I felt like it was very hit or miss. I felt that there were years where if they came out with a new shoe, they would nail it. I mean, I'd be like, "This is comfortable, it looks fresh, it's great, it plays well," and then the next year, they'd come out with just, like, crap. I really believe that, and I made a comment to that, I made that comment to a buddy, and he was like, "Actually, yeah, you're right," because he's involved in kinda like the golf merchandising industry a little bit.
Mhm.
And so he kinda saw where I was coming from. I don't know, I feel like their designs for golf are very hit or miss as well, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see them leave golf, and to be honest, I really wouldn't. So
So it's interesting you bring it up. So when I had interviewed Raymond a couple weeks ago, which by the way, if you haven't listened yet, absolutely go listen to that. He's former brand marketer at Nike. He knows a ton about the industry and particularly now in the golf category. And he had made mention both on his personal channel and then also with me that because like this was right around when the rumors were shaking up that Tiger was going to leave, and he had said that it's more than likely that Nike is just getting out of the golf category because, and again, like you can release polos, uh, like I guess what they call now commuter pants, like the nylon stretchy pants that everyone wears that are essentially golf pants. Like those will always be around because they easily sell the pants, the belts, the polos. But at the end of the day, they're going to get away from the gloves, and they've already left the golf ball. They've already left the clubs. That now really it's only a matter of the gloves and the shoes, and that's really it. Like, and you're right. The Nike golf category doesn't make as much money as Nike football. Nike is the head of basketball. They're the head of baseball. They're the head of the NFL. They're trying to get a contract now with the NHL until once Adidas and Fanatics ultimately gets bought up. So at that point, like, where do you go? Like, you're already in all the major sports. You're in soccer, which you're also trying to combat as well at the same time because that's where Adidas makes all their money. So it makes sense why Nike's trying to get out of the space. The problem is, though, is that they have all these athletes that are a part of the brand. And as of last year, signed Nelly Corda, who's the number one or top 5 LPGA golfer in the world. So you got to figure out, okay, where are they going to go next? And you obviously still have Scotty, Fleetwood, you have Brooks online, Rory's still there. The list kind of goes on and on. What Raymond said was interesting. So because Jordan is a subdivision of Nike, they'll probably wind up getting more and more into the space because you're seeing now players, Keegan Bradley, Harold Varner, like the likes of that, Bubba Watson, wearing like Air Jordans on the golf course. Tony Finau's doing as well. He said we wouldn't be surprised if Jordan takes a more front seat and Nike removes themselves. Because at the end of the day, Jordan really does operate separate from Nike. It just so happens that Jordan is a subsidiary of Nike Corporation overall. So I think that's kind of where the road is going. I do think Nike's getting out of the space. Jason Day, again, left for Malbon. We'll talk about him in a minute. But the idea that Nike just doesn't sell as much as they would in the NFL, in the NBA, in the MLB, eventually in soccer, whatever it might be. Golf just kind of sticks around. And when you think about it too, like most of their golf stuff, the gloves they're okay manufactured, but no one's wearing Nike gloves anyways.
No, I never thought like I thought everyone like every kid growing up, you want Nike shoes. Like
Yeah.
Nike is like the shoe. I just
So what's fascinating is, and sorry to cut you off here. Everyone wanted Nike shoes. In 2023, Nike is getting caught up to by Adidas and Under Armour. And now, as what Raymond and I were talking about, including what Jason Day is doing with Malbin, people are finding new brands and new like bespoke companies to get involved in, and they want to dig more into that. And so Nike's losing its foothold. Like even you go to like SneakerCon and you go to like these like shoe selling spots. Like what was 5-10 years ago, a pair of Nike Dunks that cost you $200 retail sold for double, triple, quadruple the amount. It simply isn't happening anymore because there's so much stock and it's so much saturation within the market. And at this point, Nike golf shoes, if you go on their website, it's literally their shoes that they sell in general with spikes thrown on them or a different sole. Like they have the Air Jordan Highs, they have the Air Pegasus, they have the Air Maxes, the Infinity Aces. They're all regular shoes they already sell in stock, just with a different sole.
I have the ones that Scotty Scheffler wears. Those are the ones that I have. Those are
Yeah.
that's. But I think I'm having a hard time because I want to get more of them. I'm having a hard time finding them.
Oh god, those things are gonna. The problem now is too, and I immediately regretted this. So last night I'm in the PGA Superstore, and I'm like, I kind of want to get a Tiger Woods hat before he leaves for Nike. Before he leaves Nike. Those hats are selling for like $150 now on eBay.
Oh yeah,
fucking nuts. All that shit's gonna be so expensive because it's all novelty now.
Yep, 100%.
But it's crazy.
Damn. Well, I mean, hey, I think it's honestly it's kind of sad to see Tiger leave Nike. It really is. It really is the end of an era because I know it's golf and golf is like a niche sport, but Tiger was Nike. Like if you look at from 2000 to now, if you say first Nike athlete to come to mind, I think most people would probably say Tiger.
I would argue LeBron, but yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because I'm a golfer, but
like, but you're right. You want to talk about athletes synonymous to their brand, like, and I mean, this doesn't necessarily compare, but like, you think of Under Armour and you immediately think it's Steph Curry, not really Jordan Spieth. I think Jordan Spieth's kind of second in line as the wide picture. Adidas, you look at Adidas athletes. I think Derrick Rose.
Yeah, I think Derrick Rose. For me, if I think Under Armour,
it's Spieth or it's Curry. I don't know who else.
Like, yeah, actually, you know who I do think of? I think of Tom Brady.
Tom Brady went to that one.
He wore Under Armour.
Yeah, back in the day. But then and then also like Converse was Magic Johnson. And it's the same reason why Michael Jordan didn't go to Converse back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And Nike sold him on that. And Michael Jordan was Nike.
Yep.
And then Tiger Woods and LeBron James were Nike. I remember going when I was a little kid. And again, like I've been golfing since I was 11 years old. But I remember going to stores or like 7-Eleven and getting like Gatorade before a baseball game. And I would want the Gatorade bottle that had Tiger Woods on it.
Yeah.
Fucking fist pumping the red Gatorade with his fucking sweater and the Nike swoosh on it.
Well, I mean, then the Gatorade dropped him. So.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is though is that like even on the bottle it was Tiger Woods in the Nike swoosh. Yeah. Everything was always the swoosh and Tiger, and it's what it's been forever. The Sunday Reds have always been the swoosh. I think this is crazy to think about how as a polarizing character. And also, not for nothing, one of like 4 billionaires, thanks to a clothing or apparel deal, next to the other face of Nike, LeBron James, in a different category. Like, these two guys have been the face of that brand forever, and now to see Tiger leave, wherever he goes, it really does change. And I think the one thing that also stood out a lot was the whole day I've been looking at stuff on social media for it. The ads they used to play for Tiger Woods and Nike are some of the best advertisements I think I might have ever watched.
The one my favorite is when he chipped in at the 2005 Masters on 16, and the ball, it just stops, and you kind of see the Nike swoosh, and it just falls in. That's the best one.
I had two. So well, there's the first one, and it's like how to play golf better, and it was like, I imagine, or I play with children and women to my left and right to make sure that I keep a square club face. And like, here, let's see how this guy does it. And he hits the stanchions.
Yeah.
Like, so there's that one. There's I think it was after the 2019 Masters, when he won it. It was a timeline that was
it was like a full circle kind of timeline.
Yeah, it was a full circle that was voiceovered by his father. That was a really good one. Personally, my favorite one though is the one where it's Tiger and Rory on the range, and they're going shot for shot and nailing it into cups. That's a great fucking ad.
That was when Rory first joined.
Yeah, and the best was at the very end. Rory picks up a water cup and he sees the ball and he goes, "How'd you do that?" And he goes, "You'll learn."
Yeah,
it's like really great moments with Nike. But it's sad, like you're seeing an icon leave, and now again we don't know what's going to happen with Nike. We know that we have an idea. I think everyone kind of knows what's going to happen, but we're seeing the beginning of the end for a brand that we have been looking at for a long time and saying these guys are the GOATs. But in reality, I think Nike's kind of falling off the map. I think that's kind of the big underlying story here that everyone's not necessarily missing, but not talking about. The idea that Nike is getting caught up to by everybody else in the space, and less people care about the brand of Nike, but rather what they look good in, what they feel good in, and what they want to wear. Which I think is why a lot of these like brands like Malbon Golf is getting bigger and bigger. That's why Jason Day left. Which again, we'll talk about him on the other side. Let's dig into the real golf news of the week. The opening week of the PGA Tour season of 2024 kicked off with an absolute bang. Kapalua, the plantation course in Hawaii. Actually, Kay's in Hawaii right now as we speak. She left me at home to go party with her family. I told her if you happen to stop by YLA for next week's Sony Open, get me a hat. So hopefully she drops in. But Kapalua was everything that the PGA Tour wanted to start off a year with an elevated event and more. I don't know if you watched at all during the week, but I watched for the last couple hours on Sunday, and probably the most entertaining 4-hole stretch I've watched in a long time. It was Chris Kirk was a hole behind Thigala. Thigala was the last one in. Akshay was playing with Kirk, and I believe it was Xander. And then it was behind them or a hole ahead was Jordan Spieth. So Kirk, Xander, and Batia was the last group out. And then followed by them was Spieth, and followed by them was Thigala. Thigala lipped out on 18 to sit at 28 under. Spieth had an eagle at 26 under to get the 28 and force a tie with Thigala. Missed it by a hair. Kirk had an approach shot on 17 that, according to the commentary, the caddy said 7-iron. Kirk said, I should probably club up because it's a little bit into the wind, but downhill. He goes 5-iron and lands it to 2.5 feet of the pin for a tap-in birdie to go up 1 going into 18. And then, of course, like everything else just kind of fell into place from there. And it was an easy win for Chris Kirk going 1 up on Thigala late and winning it. So Chris Kirk earns his 6th career PGA Tour victory. But just what a really great, strong week for the PGA Tour. Having, obviously, the cast of characters that are all champions from the past year, the 55, I think, man field or 56-man field, just completely dominating this golf course. And I have a newfound appreciation for events like this, and I'll get into that, but I want to get your opinion first on the opening week of PGA Tour action.
I thought it was as good as it could have gotten. I think in the past, before this event became an elevated event, it was almost like a forgotten event because it was really just like 30 guys. Everyone made the cut, and you were just expecting guys to go low, but it was like, it's 30 guys. It almost felt more like an exhibition. It felt like
Yeah.
we're just going to reward the guys that won last year, and they're going to get a leg up on everybody else prior to the Sony.
Th-
Um,
They got a
and
nice vacation in Hawaii, basically.
yeah, I mean, they did, um, but it was this year that event was, and I've played that course. I've also met Chris Kirk. Really, I mean, I got to I watched him hit balls when I was probably like, oh man, probably like 14, 15 years old, on just like on driving range, and one of the most free flowing, beautiful swings you'll ever see. Just a smooth motion, and so I think he's also had some personal battles.
Yeah. He battled alcoholism for a couple of years. Actually, really interesting story. They were talking about it on the cast last night. It was he didn't touch a golf club for 3 months, and when he came back, he found his love for golf. He started practicing lefty,
Mhm.
and he was consistently shooting like 82 lefty, and he was like, you know what, let's get back into the right side, and then started firing away. And he actually came back over the last year and a half or so, and he has gotten 2 wins now in a year span.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help but root for a guy that's been through stuff like that, and and continues to battle it. That's not something that goes
Oh, yeah.
away, and he's it appears that he's f facing the challenge and taking it head on, and he's a great ambassador for the game. I have a ton of respect for someone who, might who has inner demons and is willing to go face those inner demons, because that's an
Mhm.
uncomfortable thing to do. And
100%.
I hats off to him. I mean, he has not just he has resurrected himself as a person, and in doing so, it's really helped his career, I think. He's he's a fantastic competitor, and hats off to him. Great start to the year for sure.
I think the really interesting thing about this about Kapalua, and you alluded to it, and so did I, is the idea that it's always been looked at as a vacation event. I think Tony Finau or Justin Thomas said it a few years ago. He's like, "Oh, like it's great, get to bring my wife here." I think it was Finau. He was like, "Oh, like get to bring the kids out, get to just enjoy a couple of weeks here in Hawaii." He wasn't gonna. I think that year he didn't play the Sony, so it was just the Century and then a week off. Then you get back into the swing of things in California. And so I've been really kind of down on events like this, and it kind of relates to the rollback too. When everyone was talking about like how the rollback's going to reduce yardages and it's going to make the game harder for players, and then you go to a place like Kapalua where like Max Homa has the longest drive ever at a PGA Tour event now for total distance, 477 yards, because it was 30 miles an hour downhill, like 85 feet.
Yeah.
And and of course, Max had fun with it. He tweeted out, well, 477 yard drive uphill into the wind. Pretty damn impressive, I would say.
He said like all carry or something. It was funny. I mean, what else are you gonna expect from him?
The only thing I was surprised to not see was Bryson DeChambeau comment, "LOL, good try, buddy," because he probably was so butthurt by the comment. But you look at a golf course like Kapalua, and of course it's wide open fairways. It's hard to miss. Most of the guys, I think the fairway average was in the high 70s this week. Scoring average was impeccable. Of course, and you see it by score. 29 under was the winner. We had, I think, 12 guys at 26 under par or better going into the final round. I think the scoring average was like 67. I think it was, which is a PGA Tour best over the last 3 years. But I think these events don't get enough love because we always talk about the idea of like putting contests, like how literally if you could putt the best, you're going to win here. And I say it about the John Deere, I say it about the Barbasol. Like those are also like secondary events when you like really get into the heart of the calendar. But this event, I now have a newfound appreciation for because And Chris Kirk made it. Actually, no, Jordan Spieth made a comment about it. He was like, he came up 3 strokes short, and he was like, literally came down to I had a plugged lie in the fairway on 16 that I couldn't even carry up. So literally just darted it 30 yards left and just said I have to just take a stroke here, or it's unplayable because you literally can't get it straight. So he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna hit the medicine. He bogeyed the hole. Victor Hovland had a triple on Saturday, which basically took him out of contention. He lost by 4 strokes, so very well could have made it back had he not even had that. But Spieth was like, yeah, like it comes down to the idea that these events don't get appreciated because you cannot make a single mistake, and that goes for any event on tour. But these in particular, because the conditions are easy enough that everyone's scoring really well. It isn't like you're going to Torrey Pines when John Rahm won the U.S. Open and won at like 4 under par. That's just because everyone's bogeying holes, and the expectation is you're going to shoot 74. But this was like literally you're going to shoot 66, and if you shoot like a 61 or a 62, which is like 10 under par, it's pretty damn freaking good, and you had a really good day. And you need multiple of those in order to get to where you have to be. Chris Kirk had a 10 under on day 3. The Gala had a 10 under, I think, on the final day. And I think Hovland went 64, 65, I think, on the first 2 days to have the second place spot. So I think that's why I love these events more, is because now you really have to focus in on lacking those mistakes and just playing the best golf you can and nailing every putt, even whether it's from 25 feet or 5 feet. You need to make every one, which I think really makes these events really really cool. Sorry, I kind of just went on a tangent there.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to shut up. Yeah, so I think the fact that it's an elevated event definitely brings more respect to the actual event, because in the past it was like 30 guys and it was just whoever won. Well, you could win a PGA Tour event, but have kind of a down year at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you'd see guys, it's just like, oh yeah, that's right, he won that event last year, but it's also like, if Tiger won, Tiger wasn't going back to Kapalua, he did like early in his career. But they didn't really get like the same marquee names that they're getting now. And I think because it's an elevated event, it's a little bit of a deeper field. Now they have close to 60 guys, because I think if you get to the Tour Championship, you also get into that event. Plus like a winner from the previous year. That stuff adds credibility. And the fact that it's such a beautiful golf course to look at as well, and you have a better field, and there's going to be a lot of birdies made, which is like, long drives. That adds credibility, and I think that's what the Century Tournament of Champions has now. What's next? Let's keep this ship rolling.
Let's do it. So with the first week of the year also comes the shuffle of sponsors that get all turned around, and of course Nike and Tiger's a story, but focusing on who was actually on the course this week, a couple of notes. Number one, Xander Schauffele, typical Adidas athlete, no longer seen in Adidas, is now repping Descente, which is actually a skiing company. He was rocking their polo end pants this week. Possibility he drops Adidas, we don't really know. He was gaming Adidas shoes though. Scotty Scheffler and Tommy Fleetwood, nothing apparel wise. They are still both with Nike, at least for the foreseeable future, at least a little bit. But they both signed multi-year extensions with TaylorMade. A little bit of a note there. It's really big. Ricky Fowler was basically stripped down of all of his brandings on everything, with the exception of a Rocket Mortgage sponsorship, which also means the Farmers is out. We'll see who he winds up getting into. But really, the story was just Jason Day and LIVGolf. Their second athlete, their first on the PGA Tour. The sign Jason Day. If you don't know who they are a little bit. They're obviously not as big as the Big Four, but they're small yet big at the same time. And when I say big, it's really kind of in the pant legs. Really baggy pants, streetwear kind of style, embroideries everywhere. If you haven't seen it, go and look it up on social media. It was hilarious. It was basically the meme of the week. But what do you make of the Jason Day fits that he was rocking? I'll try and get photos too for those watching on YouTube, so we can at least get a visual.
I think that it's I think the design is hideous. I do. I think the design is hideous. It's too bad. I don't know. Like for me as an athlete, I like to have more fitted stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I like to have my stuff a little bit more fitted. Which that's one of the reasons I love my Peter Millar pants. They're awesome.
Are
Uh,
those really that good? I've been looking to get a pair.
they're fabulous. You just have to know. You got to make sure obviously you get the right size and stuff. But for me and like my body type, I mean they
Mhm.
work wonders. Um, they're just so baggy. That would drive me nuts. I don't know. Like for me, I don't know. I mean, hey, if they offered me a lot of money, I'm sure I'd wear it. Probably now they'll never offer me anything. But I mean, I don't know. Like I'm sure he got a lot of money to do it, so can't really fault the guy. I'm not a big fan of the design. I'm
So
not.
it's really interesting because like Malbin is not what you typically will see on the PGA Tour, like by any extent. So hold on, let me actually pull up this image. I have a few from what he was wearing this week to kind of give you all a idea. So again, it's ooh, all right. Nope, that's just yeah. So here, typical of like what he wore, the baggy pants, really baggy. Like even here, you could see it pretty clearly. Like very much not what you typically see on tour. Sweaters are now kind of the go-to for like what Malbin is trying to rep. They have the mock neck, like long width, like breakers. That's kind of the general style of what you're gonna see out of Malbin. It's very different. It isn't what you typically see, which I think makes it interesting, but also it's a acquired taste. I think it's a bit of a throwback to like the '90s a little bit.
Yeah,
Kind of gives you like the Tiger Woods feel when he had the really baggy pants back in the day. Um, but honestly, you know what? For a revitalized Jason Day career, and now also no longer sporting a beard, I think it's kind of a fun new fit, and it's something that's new. And we're going to see more of these bespoke brands kind of get into the mainframe, and they're going to wind up acquiring more guys as guys leave. Who knows? Especially with Nike's possible departure from the space, you're going to have huge names like Brooks, Tony, Scotty, Fleetwood, guys like that who are going to want to get into a new space. So might be worthwhile to see where they all go. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we're going to continue with the sponsorship talk. We'll chat all about a little bit of news on Patrick Reed. Rory McIlroy becomes a hypocrite once more. And of course, we have some chat on beer money for the Sony Open. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's the Get in the Hole podcast.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
Welcome back in. It's Get in the Hole here with Ben and Steve. We now kick off a fun segment we call Mail Call. We start off with the biggest loser of the week, Patrick Reed or his lawyer. Patrick Reed, of course, lost his defamation lawsuit against Brandel Chambly. He now must pay Brandel and everybody else who was cited within the lawsuit. His lawyer, just like every Scooby-Doo villain, said, I will be back. This is not over. Who's the biggest loser, Patrick Reed or his lawyer, for his comments?
Patrick Reed because he owes money. Like I don't know. I just think Patrick Reed's a loser in general. So I'm gonna go with Patrick Reed. Wait, he
I think
owes money. He owes money to like Brandel. And
well, yeah, because of damages and I think he has to pay the lawyer fees that have
okay,
gone through this process.
okay. No, so yeah, I was gonna say he's not paying Brandel Chambly anything.
Well, he's paying his lawyer.
Wait,
Brandel Chambly doesn't owe a nickel to his lawyer.
I'm aware, but Brandel isn't making money from Patrick Reed.
I mean, I'll double check the
Because
final.
you're like, he owes money to Brandel. I'm like, how does that make any sense?
So let's say he's been ordered. Yeah, so he's paying the cost for the defendant. So basically, he is paying Brandel to a degree, but it's really all going to the lawyer. It's lawyer fees that are in the millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And by the way, he also owes money to Eamon Lynch. He owes money to the Golf Channel, Doug Ferguson, Damon Hack. God, the list goes on and on and on. But for me, I think the biggest loser is not only Patrick Reed, but I think the lawyer actually is even more at fault here. So Larry Klayman is his lawyer, and I remember when Jake and I talked about this when it first came out because they had refiled the case in Florida, I think from Texas. So you can call for bigger punitive damages in the state of Florida than in Texas. Fun fact: if you ever have to settle a defamation lawsuit. So Larry Klayman had said that the dishonest and unethical fake news golf media in the hip pocket of a dependent on the EGA tour must be held to account for their callous and malicious attempts to destroy Mr. Reed as a means to try to destroy Live Golf for clicks and profit. Stay tuned. This fight is far from over. It's literally like the guys from Scooby-Doo are like, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids kind of fucking guy. Like it's embarrassing to try and keep on fighting this fight when you know it's never going to work, when it's never going to actually work out. So I'm going to give the biggest loser award to his lawyer for trying to continue this. Although actually maybe he's a genius because Patrick Reed's going to owe him more and more money in legal fees anyways. So at the end of the day, it's a for-profit business. So I'll give it to him. Rory McIlroy this week, and I've been waiting, dying to get your opinion on this. Came out and basically 180'd himself on talks with LIVGolf, and I understand that you will not talk about Rory McIlroy until he wins a major, but I need you to give me an opinion here. Rory went on record and had made multiple mentions that he's surprised the PGA Tour has lasted this long because of the fact that LIVGolf has taken off so well. He had made mention that in 2022 he personally met with PIF owner Yasir Al-Rumayyan, who was also the co-founder of LIVGolf, saying that he had met with him. He told the PGA Tour, hey, someone has to talk to him, and we need to get into a room with him. So basically, Rory McIlroy was the catalyst behind the merger when you really kind of think about it. He sued, and then also said, after saying back in 2023 that he had no idea what was actually going on between the PIF and PGA Tour, he said, I knew it was an intimate group of people. There was the commissioner of the PGA Tour, Yasir, and multiple board members. I knew there were conversations being had. Finally, he goes, I think what LIV has done, it's exposed the flaws in the system of what golf has, because we're all supposed to be independent contractors and we can pick and choose what tournaments we want to play. But I think what LIV and the Saudis have exposed is that if you're asking for millions of dollars to sponsor these events and you're not able to guarantee to the sponsors that the players are going to show up, I can't believe the PGA Tour has done so far for so long. Finally, I've gone through the last 2 years with the altruistic approach where I've looked at the world the way I've wanted to see it. Ultimately, you can say what you want and do what you want, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to change people's minds. You're never going to make them decide based on what you say. I wouldn't say I've lost the fight against LIV, but I have simply accepted the fact that it is part of the sport now. Ben, what do you make of Rory McIlroy's comments? And give me one word to describe what he said.
One word, huh?
One word, and then you can elaborate on it.
Hypocrisy.
That's a basic word. Come on. I was looking for some big time SAT shit.
It's a basic word for a basic man. I hesitate to call him a man too.
I'm jotting that down for a clip.
I just go for it. I don't care. I'd love to meet Rory and tell him exactly what I think about him. I think it's so funny how and I've said this to numerous people in recent weeks. I think it's so funny, and I know I said I wasn't going to curse on this show anymore, but I think it is so funny how people shit all over these guys that went to live. I think the media, I think the guys that stayed on the PGA Tour that couldn't help but couldn't help but just run their mouths constantly and point fingers and basically call these guys who went to live they were basically selling out. It was a money grab. It was all these things. It wasn't good for the game. I think it's so funny how people would sit there and say, well, if you give golfers it guaranteed money, they're not going to be as motivated anymore. Really? Because as far as I'm concerned, guys in the NBA are making $55 million a year, and I don't see any sort of drop off in their game. I don't see quarterbacks who sign these big fat contracts in football. I don't see any drop off in their game. I don't see, Mike Trout signed that gargantuan extension with the Angels. Have we really seen that big of a drop off? This was easily his worst year. And guess what? He was still one of the best players in baseball. I think it is laughable that now all of a sudden, now that these sides seem to be moving towards some sort of partnership, that now everyone on the PGA Tour side of it is just shutting up and swallowing their pride. And they're actually taking responsibility, which I will note, that's very good. Good on you, Rory, for taking responsibility for all the stupid shit that you said once Liv finally took off. Because guess what? It's the best thing that's ever happened for golf. It's going to make you and everybody else playing it at the highest level more money than you could even imagine. I think Rory is just the biggest hypocrite of all time. I think he is unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He really is. He is unbelievable. The fact that he met with essentially the co-founder of LIV a year prior to the supposed LIV PGA Tour merger and claimed that he knew nothing about it, or knew that, well, I knew that there were meetings going on, and he didn't stick his neck out there and actually say what was going on. To me, he has lost whatever credibility he had is gone. I think Rory needs to just get back to playing golf, because the whole time he was directing his anger at the wrong people. He was directing his anger at the guys who went to LIV, the guys who run LIV. Meanwhile, he should have been directing his anger towards the bozo that's in charge of the PGA Tour, Jay Monahan. That's who he should have been directing his anger towards. I think, there you go. That's what I think. I've had enough of talking. I've had enough of talking about him for tonight. He makes my blood boil. And I'll never forget when he sat there and he was like, I have one more win, or as many wins as someone else, meaning Greg Norman. Guess what, bro? You made yourself into just a punching bag for people that actually understand what's going on.
The best part of all this, and
he's a loser.
Honestly, I think every shred of respect that I have for Rory McIlroy is gone. It's rib tickling. There's your fun SAT word. It's rib tickling. It's boisterous. It's farcical. It's side splitting. I don't even know what the fucking word is. It's hilarious that Rory McIlroy can get in front of a room of journalists, and we have mentioned this. We've been beating the dead horse. The idea that we don't know what's been happening because the players have said, "Oh, I mean, I know as much as you know," and everything's being private. The media can't report on it. And Rory McIlroy sits down in front of a microphone and he goes, I don't really know what's going on. He knew there was meetings. He literally prompted the PGA Tour and said, you need to talk to this guy. He's the biggest advocate. Rory McIlroy this whole time has been the biggest advocate for LIVGolf. And then he goes on to praise Jon Rahm's move. And at this point, I'd be shocked if Rory McIlroy winds up going to LIVGolf. I feel like it like wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. And you're right. He pointed the blame at the wrong people for the longest time, because the blame should have always been on the one person that we always turn back on and say, wow, he fucking sucks. That's Jay Monahan. But for literally 2 years, has sat behind him and said, you know what? I support the PGA Tour. It's where the best players are. It's where it's the best league. It isn't the best league. It's like fucking people who say America's the best country in the world. We're like 30th in education. We're like 20th in life expectancy. Literacy is down the tube. Like, it's great to be here in America and be in the land of opportunity, but like, we are not the greatest country in the world as we used to be in the 40s and 50s. It's a very different world now. And to say the PGA Tour is the greatest league because really it's the only option you have to LIVGolf, while yes, it has the best players still, does not necessarily mean that you have the best product, and you most certainly do not have the best leadership that's overseeing the entire thing. So, like I said, Rory's been pointing the blame at the wrong people the whole time, and now he's finally coming to terms with the idea that, like, not to say that Liv was right, but they were a lot smarter than he thought they were, and he underestimated them.
Well, here's the thing. He is such a hypocrite because he sits there and he's shitting all over these guys who go to LIV. He's shitting all over Greg Norman. Okay, the whole product that LIV offers and who went and the idea behind it, which is we're going to give golfers guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Yet he meets with the guy who's basically the co-founder of LIV a year before roughly a year before the merger takes place, or the attempted, at this point, let's call it the attempted merger, right? Because it's been, haven't really made that much progress with it. But and all he said when it first happened, I remember he had said something along the lines of, I knew that there were meetings, but he made it seem like that was all he knew.
Yeah.
He's a liar, and he is a hypocrite. I don't know how anybody looks at Rory McIlroy and just is like on the PGA Tour, and they're just like, yep, I'm buddies with Rory McIlroy. I don't know how anybody would ever want to be friends with him. Whatever credibility he had, and I didn't think he really had any credibility, had much credibility left. It's down the tubes. It's not. He doesn't have any more credibility. He doesn't.
No, it's gone.
I just, I understand that there's a point in time when you kind of have to wise up, in life. You're like, oh my God, my back's against the wall and I really need help, and that's kind of what Jay Monahan did. Jay was like, credit to him. He was like, all right, like, I can't compete with this. Let's just do this. It's going to be embarrassing, but I'm going to do it. Well, Rory knew what was going on and he just played dumb. That's really what this boils down to.
I wonder if Rory ever got an offer. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
But like, why deny it then? Like, why not eat your medicine months ago when you could have made this guaranteed money? I feel like LIVGolf played him as the dummy, kind of like how Yamamoto played the Mets as the fool and said, I'll fight until I get my money and I'll go to LA.
Well, here's the thing. I believe
I don't know if it's real or not, but
here's the thing. I believe it was in 2022 when LIV. That's when LIV really became a thing, right? That's when everyone leaving. Well, not everyone, but a lot of guys leaving the PGA Tour, the bigger names or like the veterans. And the fact that meeting with what's his name?
Yasir Al-Rumayyan.
Him the fact that that meeting happened that year after all the shit that Rory was talking, that would have just made him look horrible. And I don't know, maybe Rory was just like, whatever, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna say exactly what happened. Even though now that he appears to be just like a giant liar and a giant hypocrite, it's like, okay, is he actually telling the truth? Like, it's a fair question. I mean, you catch someone lying once, you kind of look at them, and you're just like, are you gonna always tell me the truth now? Because clearly you didn't that first time.
Yeah,
I just
it's baffling to me.
You know what? All I have to say now is, congratulations. My blood pressure's through the roof because he infuriates me, and I won't talk about him until he wins another major. And any other questions you ask me or anybody else asks me about Rory McIlroy will not get answered. So that's all I have to say. I've had enough of him. I've had enough. I think he just sat there and he just oh my god, what I would wanna say to him.
And the worst part is too is that you're trying to get into the sport, and the fact that like it's one thing to say like you leave the sport in a better place than you leave it.
You mean you leave the sport in better shape than when you got there? That's what you meant.
Yes, so yes, yeah.
Okay.
You leave the sport in a better place once you leave. I don't I don't think Rory's doing that.
No, he's not.
I don't think Rory has done that. Like, what has Rory done to elevate the PGA Tour at all in the 20 years he's been on tour?
Rory has honestly he's like
He hasn't moved the needle.
you know what the thing that like I don't know. There were always kids like this. You know, like the kids and I've known these kids since like uh, I've known them since I was like in second grade till like when I graduated college. It's like the kids that just sit there and they want to just start problems constantly. Yet when you give it back to them, they just fold like a chair.
Yeah, the
Because
power
it's
off.
they give it, but they can't. They can dish it, but they can't take it, kind of thing. That's really what his personality is, I feel like,
Yeah.
to some degree.
Well,
You know, like, he's sitting there and he's talking all this shit about everyone involved with Liv, but he's one of the most sensitive human beings, on the PGA Tour. He's so sensitive.
I mean, you could tell that from just him tearing his shirt off after an event. The problem is, I think, for Rory McIlroy, and I hate to judge someone's character before you walk a mile in their shoes. No, I'm serious. But like, the guy has not been he's been a top 10 golfer in the world since 2011. Fair to say.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure he has not been outside of the top 10 in probably 10 years. He's always been the best. He's always been the best golfer in Ireland, Northern Ireland. He came on tour and immediately blew up and took the reins away from the older generation, and really it was Rory and Tiger. He became the right-hand man to Tiger with Nike. He became the right-hand man to Tiger at TaylorMade. Tiger leaves. He gets even an inkling of competition from Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Jason Day, the likes of that, and he folds like a chair immediately. And he struggled for 4 years to get back to the top. And he blamed it on his swing coach. And he blamed it on his mentality. And he blamed it on everybody else but his game. He said, "Oh, I'm fine. It's everything else." He finally wins at the Canadian Open, makes a fool of himself by and at the time it was funny, but looking back on it, hindsight being 2020.
I thought it was stupid. I thought it was so stupid. I thought it was so corny. I
It
thought it was someone.
funny.
I thought it was someone. I thought it was someone like you see like those fake tough guys. Like someone's like trying to be tough, and you're just like
Yeah.
you're soft. You're soft like Charmin. Like that's what he is.
He was being a jerk, which again, in the heat of battle, and I remember getting on the show with KB the next day and saying like, "Oh, like he's the protector of the PGA Tour." Funny to think about how that's the lead storyline. Less than a year ago, by the way. But like that event, in hindsight, made a fool of himself. And up to that point, hasn't really done much. He won one event, the Scottish Open prior to the Open. Hasn't won a major in what, 15 tries? Is it in over a decade?
Well, it's
He
more than
hasn't.
15 tries.
Well, yeah, well,
2014.
over a decade. So that's
It's
40 events.
9 years. It's 36. Well, that's like 34 because he won the PGA. So maybe
Yeah,
34.
so like 30 some odd events, has not won a major yet. Like, how can you consider yourself to be this great huge guy if you can't even if you can't even really compete in the first place at this point? And when faced with adversity and pressure, you fold. Rory McIlroy is the leader that no one really wanted, but kind of had no choice in getting because he's been served everything on a silver spoon and on a platter his entire life to get to this point. And now here we are. And you know what? I take back what I said last week. Actually, no, I think I said it last week. Rory McIlroy is going to be the underachiever of the year.
Yep, you said that.
There
By
you
the
go.
way, he wasn't served everything on a silver platter growing up. I don't think he was.
No, but what I'm saying is, in terms of his abilities, he's
since
always been praised as being.
Since he burst onto the scene, it's been just nothing but pampering for Rory. And this is
Exactly.
what you get. That's what you get. You know, when you pamper superstars, this is what you get.
Yeah. And here we are now, Rory McIlroy completely turning the dial back on his entire career. I can't wait for Alan Shipnuck to get a piece of him and turn the attention away from Phil Mickelson. That'll be a whole new war in and of itself. Let's jump right in to close the show. We're an hour in. We have 10 minutes left to go. It's time for some beer money, brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. Who's Kenny? He's a smooth, clean, and bright with a taste to boot. Kenny's the routine choice of folks who want a balanced, flavorful, no-frills beer that's right for any occasion. Just 120 calories and 8 grams of carbs. Some call it the best light beer they've ever had. We just say, can't beat the original. Head to kenwoodbeer.com and use the Kenny Tracker to find where you can get your hands on some ice-cold, refreshing Kenwood beers from your favorite liquor stores in the PA, New Jersey, or Maryland areas, as well as the Wells Fargo Center and beyond. You must be 21 years or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. The Sony Open of Hawaii, Wailea Country Club, short course, short track, 7,000 yards in length, roughly, a little bit more than that. Par, I believe it's a 71 this week, if I'm not totally wrong. Par 70, 7,044 yards, 12 par 4s, 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s, all on a nice Bermuda grass slate. Resort style course, should be easy to play. The Japanese people and the Asians love this golf course. Cannot wait to see who pans out well. We begin top 20 pick for the Sony Open. Benny boy, you go ahead.
All right, top 20 pick. I'm going to go with someone who is a really good ball striker. The defense of this golf course is the difficulty of hitting fairways. It's one of the more difficult driving courses you will see on a PGA Tour calendar. That being said, I'm going to go with someone who's relatively straight, a little bit long in the tooth, but, still just has a game that is just timeless. Matt Kuchar for my top 20. By the way, I found out today the Kuchars are honorary members of IBIS, which is where I'm living now.
Really?
Yep. So who knows?
How are you an honorary member? Did you definitely win there? I don't know if you've ever if there's events there.
I doubt it. I think if you're it's like if you're just a famous person, it looks good to have you as a member. So they're just like, yeah, you can be a member. That's probably generally how it works.
You know who's actually a member at Southampton, where Johnny worked?
Who?
Kevin Shattenkirk.
Who is that?
He was a defenseman for the Rangers for like 3-4 years. He plays for the Ducks now.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I don't know. Just a fun little factoid that I dug up recently from him. My top 20 this week. Let's see. I made mention of this, and I'm probably going to wind up digging into this well all week. I think I may have had a full Asian card last year at this event. I might do the same. I might do the same this year. People of Asian descent. I'm going to start with Kurt Kitayama for a top 20 this week. That'll be the first play of a few, and he's, I believe, part Japanese. Top 10.
All right, top 10. I'm going to go with last week's winner, Chris Kirk. Beautiful golf swing, just a smooth individual when he's on the course. I think he's going to carry that momentum over into, albeit a very different test, considering the way the courses play and what can make Kapalua difficult, versus what can make Waialae Country Club difficult. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Chris Kirk, top 10.
Top 10. I'm gonna go with I believe you picked him top 10 or top 20 this past week. Which, by the way, we did a really good job on your money. We went 3 of 10. I nailed a Thagala T5, Xander T10. You nailed Akshay for 20th. Actually, Akshay had the lead for part of the weekend. You had this guy for top 10. He finished just outside. I'm going to take him for top 10 this week to overcome. I will take PGA Tour Rookie of the Year Eric Cole for a top 10 this week. Top 5. What are you taking?
I think top 5 is kind of a. You know what? I'm not going to say it's a shoo-in. He won here as a rookie. I'm going to go with Russell Henley. I believe to win, he's 4th on the odds boards to win. So I think top 5 kind of makes sense. Yeah, go with Russell Henley.
Yeah, 22-1 on the odds board for Russell Henley for a win this week. I'm going to go with actually the guy who was it the guy who beat him? That could be. I want to make sure I'm right before I make this pick. I'm pretty sure he beat him last year or 2 years ago at this event. I'm going to take Hideki Matsuyama for a top 5.
That's a good pick.
Yes, Hideki beat him in a playoff in 2022, 2 years ago. So I'll take Hideki for a top 5 to continue his tear on the Sony Open. Your gimme pick this week.
Oh, man, my gimme pick for the week, I'm going to go with Ben Cole's top 45. Tore it up last year on the Corn Ferry Tour. He's had, I believe this will be his 4th full year on the PGA Tour, so he does have experience at this level. First start of this calendar year for him. I'm going to go top 45.
I have a fun, crazy play here. I have 3 names to make the cut this week. In this order, I will give it to you. I'm going to take my pick for the Rookie of the Year this year on the PGA Tour in his debut event, Adrian Dumont de Chasser, which in fact is his name. He's at 90-1 odds to win this week. I think he'll make the cut alongside Matt Kuchar and the 2024 debut of Will Zalatoris. Welcome back. He's playing golf in a full actual event, not in the middle of the Bahamas playing pick-me-up golf. I will take Zalatoris, Kuchar, and Dumont de Chasser all to make the cut this week.
That is the most support you have ever given Will Zalatoris, which is so sad because he's so talented.
Welcome back from injury. This is the only love you will get for a whole calendar year.
Oh my gosh, you're so, bro. You are like, I'm trying to think, like, who is someone that like a sports talk guy or girl like really picks on? Like maybe like how about this? You know how like Skip Bayless was just like enamored with Jay Cutler? Was just enamored with Jay Cutler.
You are not comparing me to Skip Bayless.
Stop. You are the opposite of that when it comes to Will Zalatoris.
I'm the opposite of all the guys who completely spank off LeBron James.
Oh my gosh.
No, look, I think Will's a really good player. I just don't believe that if you can't do one of the most important parts of golf right, then you don't deserve to be a top 5 player in the world, top 10 player in the world.
Well, he's not anymore. So
well, he's got to fight his way back. But Although he has picked up this new putting stroke, which I had made mention of during the Hero World Challenge, which like he still finished dead last, but I think that's more of a you're finally getting back into golf professionally in competitive rounds more than it is the putting stroke. I think he was still net negative though, but if he can figure it out, then I'll give him some more praise, which he might deserve. But for now, I'll slow down a little bit. Your winner this week at the Sony Open.
Man, ever since Ludwig Oberg won, they've just been hammering him. I mean, he's like,
yeah, it's too high up.
I know, it's just like it's not sustainable. It's like look, before he had won, it was tempting, but then he won, but then we kind of had like a layoff, right? So it's just like that momentum like kind of dies off a little bit. So I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna go with you know what? I'm gonna go with a mega pick this week. Brian Harmon, baby. He is my champion for the Sony Open in Hawaii.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on the what?
It was a mega pick.
You know, I was thinking you were gonna go further back on the odds board, and I just totally forgot the idea that he reps Megacorp. So that's on me. I thought you were gonna like dig into like the 70-1 guys. Which, by the way, if you're gonna take somebody at long odds this week, I do love Billy Horschel at 75-1. Just saying. But what do I know? My pick this week, and I agree with you on the Ludwig comment at 13-1, and the number one guy on the odds board in front of like Tyrrell Hatton and Matt Fitzpatrick is a ridiculous take. I would actually probably put Corey Connors ahead of him this week to win. I'm going to go with the guy who I desperately wanted to win on Sunday, didn't get it, got snubbed out of a win for a lip out on 18. I think Sai Thagala is going to win his second career event this week. Like, unbelievable golf this past week. He led the field in strokes gained total, and no one talked about it. His putting was phenomenal. The approach game was great, and I get it, easier golf course. But he made literally no mistakes, and he went 10 under in the final round to push himself all the way up. Deserved it so much. Credit to Chris Kirk, but I want Sai Thagala to get another win. That guy is an absolute gamer. He's a baller. I love this guy so much. So that's my take for Sai Thagala at 35-1 to win this week. Harmon, by the way, is 24-1. Final thoughts for you before you get going?
Nothing really, man. I don't really have any thoughts. I'm grabbing drinks and dinner tomorrow with the old co-host. You know, the guy who introduced me to this lovely network, John Mavella. Mavelia. Is that how you say it? I've known this kid.
Mavella?
I've known this kid since I was like 11. Still can't figure out how to say his last name.
John Mavelia.
Mavelia.
Actually, John, my groomsman at my wedding. One of.
Is he really?
One of, yes.
That's awesome.
So John's always late to everything.
There's that no exception there.
Oh, don't worry. Kay and I have put down specifically on his invitation that the church, while it begins at 2:30, we have it listed down as 1:30.
That's smart.
And yet, at the same time, though, he's going to be with me the whole day because my groomsmen are going to be hanging at my house, taking a bus with me. So, he has no excuse to be late. Although, then again, he has to still show up at my house for the morning. So that'll be a quest in and of itself. We'll see how that goes.
I'll be like your alternate groomsman, whatever. Like in case.
Ben, you would be a great groomsman. Unfortunately, I have a lot of other guys that are on the B list.
I am not at all offended that I was.
But you will bring no shame to my family or Kay's. It is for twerking on the wall when you do it.
It's a lot of work for me to be. It's a lot. It would be a lot of work.
Can I ask you right now? What if you were able to get me a golf-related gift for my wedding? What would you get me?
A golf-related gift. That's a good one.
Like, let's just say, like, you spend typically, I don't know, if you aren't buying something from the registry, you typically give like nowadays like $150 to $200 a head, typically for the wedding. let's say you got us a gift together, but you wanted to get me a little small something on the side, a golf related thing, what would you get?
Well, yeah, just so you know, I'm getting you like your own separate thing. But
Oh baby.
um,
New set of gloves, new set of gloves, new set of gloves.
you're hilarious.
My gamer's like 4 years old.
Would you shut up and let me finish? You keep interrupting me.
When do I not?
What's that?
When do I not? Death
Yeah,
taxes and me interrupting you.
New Year, same old Steven. Shows up late, interrupts me. You know what? There is a book that I read a long time ago, and I think that you'd actually really enjoy it. I think it's called like Tales of Q School or Tales from Q School or Q School Horror Stories, something along those lines. I read it when I was really young. And it's just about it's such a depressing book looking back because it's a great read. But because like, you feel like you're watching these just really unfortunate things happen to guys
Yeah.
like in final stage of Q School. Um, I would have to say probably that I'd probably get you that book. I think it's a great read. I really do. I know that's probably like a lame gift, but
No, I'm cool.
I think either that or I'd get you like I don't know. I'd get you if I had a lot of money. If I had a lot of money, I'd get you like a golf cart or something. But
A
like
golf cart?
if I had a lot of money, like I would get you like this like sick like pimped out cart with like spinning rims and just like a built-in speaker like that's almost like just like a Bluetooth, but like you can hear it. It has like an obnoxious horn. Like
Dude,
if
like, bro, chrome spinners on a golf cart.
bro, for real, I would like if I had the money for that, like totally would go.
Psycho behavior. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you all for joining us this week on the Get in the Hole podcast. For Ben Pirro, I'm Stephen McAvoy. Follow, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Underground Sports Philadelphia. Climbing our way to our 1,000 subscriber mark. We are getting so close. Be sure to follow them and like, subscribe everywhere. Get in the Hole pod, Underground Sports Philadelphia. Thanks to our sponsors, Tomahawk Shades, Dubby, Kenwood Beer, Philadelphia Apparel Co. All you guys are amazing. Thank you guys. And of course, to the listeners for making this show what it is. Tigers out. Jason Day moves on to Malbon. Rory McIlroy is a hypocrite. That's all we have this week. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the golf at the Sony Open and wait for the California swing. It's only going to get more juicy from here. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!